I thought I'd show you how I've got my sewing space set up. This is just a spare room in the house, a spare bedroom, and it's pretty small. It's maybe 10 by 10 feet at the most. What I have here is I have two 4 by 2 foot tables just set together at an L shape, and this is where I'm working, and it's just a little corner in the bedroom. I've got a window behind me, and you can see here's the opposite wall. There's my tripod, and I have some design boards propped up there so I can grab them when I'm ready for them. But you can see here I have my cutting board over to the right of the sewing machine, and then I have right here I have some fabric that I am using for the current project, which is flower garden quilt. And I've got some Easy Steam 2 sitting right next to it. I'm going to use that for the stems of the flowers. And I have a cup of hot tea there waiting for me. And I have some of my tools. And I'll move around and show you what I have over here on this other table. And first I'll show you what I have underneath here. I have a couple of storage bins. The one on the very bottom is actually art supplies, and then these smaller bins have fabric. And I've got over here on the left right there, that is leftover fabric from previous quilts that I've made. Like all those sampler quilts I made last year. Most of that is left over. And then I have a rotating cutting board on top of that. And then over here I have, on the bottom it has some fabric. It's PFD fabric, prepared for dyeing fabric, that I can use as backgrounds in blocks, or I can use it for backings, or I can hand dye it. What I'm using, actually, I'm using some similar to that for the flower garden quilt, actually, for the background. And then in that box, that top box, there's a couple of the blocks in there. And then on the table, I have my iron. I have the fabrics that I've been cutting from right behind it. I have my rulers set up in their stand, and then I have my pressing surface, which is a press and cut, or cut and press one. It's Quilter's Cut and Press one. And then these are all pieces that I have cut out for the red clover block for the flower garden quilt. And then I have my scissors, and I have my wonder clips, I have some bobbins, and then in this container I've got some of my other notions that I use. I've got some thread. This is my walking foot. I've got, this is a 120-inch tape measure, and then I have some of my handmade alphabetties back here. The alphabetties, the commercial ones, are right back there, the ones I bought from Fat Quarter Shop. And then these are paper scissors, so I use these when I'm like opening boxes or cutting paper or plastic or something. And I have some extra rotary blades, and then I have some marking tools, and a screwdriver, and my glow line tape in here. So I've got a seam ripper somewhere. Here's a seam gauge right there, and my seam ripper is actually here in front of the, right there. And I've got some, these are embroidery scissors I use for cutting threads. There's my 1/4-inch foot. Right now I have my embroidery foot on there because I was doing some zigzag stitching on a piece of fabric. Under here I have the triangles on a roll that I'm using for the flower garden quilt. These will make 2-inch finished half-square triangles. So I'm just keeping that handy. And my pin cushion. And then underneath this table I do have a trash can, so I can throw all the trash away there. But I've got everything plugged into a surge protector, and that's it. It's a real simple setup, but it's been working, and I've been able to get quite a bit done. So and then over here I have my computer, so I've got my phone sitting there, and then my printer and my monitor, and then I have an OT light also there. And that OT light is pretty useful. This room is dark. It does have a window, but this room faces north, so we don't get a lot of light. So I have my studio lights here, and I move those around as I need them. Right now I had to move them out of the way so I had room to walk. And this closet has some more supplies in it, and I'll give you a peek into there. None of this is really organized. Everything's just stacked in there, and this has a lot of my art supplies in it too. This top basket here, on the top of it I've got, this is my hand sewing kit, and then these are embroidery scissors and stuff that I use mostly for cross stitch. But what's in that box is acrylic paints and other materials that I use for acrylic painting. And then the two beneath that, the first one is fabric, and then the bottom one is watercolor supplies. So it's one of the hazards of having multiple hobbies. You have multiple containers full of stuff. And then here's, this is the quilt that I finished. This is the Charm Pack quilt top. It's the top. I haven't quilted it yet, and I have some scraps of batting. And this bundle is glassine paper, and I use that to cover my acrylic paintings with so that they don't stick to anything. And I have a drawing board right back there in the back. And then over here I've got, these are electronic supplies for the camera, and there is my sewing machine rolling case. And then over here I have Christmas paper, and this is the box that I store my studio lights in. So odds and ends. And then up here I do have some more fabric up here. Now I haven't found all the fabric that I'm looking for. It's still in storage, and we haven't been able to get to it, so I'm just going to make do without at this time. My camera case is over here on the left, and then this case here stores my studio lights, and then I have more painting supplies over here. There's some craft paint in there, then there's some fabric paint in those containers, and then oops, and then back over here is mostly storage bags that I've made for transporting my painting supplies when I'm traveling, that kind of thing. I usually take my watercolors with me when I travel, and those are containers, little bags that I made to carry those in. So that is about it. Let me turn around here. It's a carpeted floor. It's got a shag carpet in it. This rental house is probably 40 or 50 years old. So nothing in it is new. It's all kind of worn, but they did repaint it before we moved in. So the whole house is nice as far as that's concerned. We've got nice walls. The walls are painted, and they filled in all of the holes on the walls. And I haven't hung anything up because we're hoping not to be here more than a year. And so I just don't want to pull things out and hang them on the wall and have to pull them back off the wall and pack them again. And so that's it. So there's a little brief tour of my sewing space. I'm making do with what I can get my hands on, and if I'm missing something that I really need, then I go out and buy it. But so far, all the tools I've been able to find, the ones that I really need. I did have to go out and buy the Easy Steam because I couldn't find any fusible web, and that's in one of the storage containers. It's in one of the storage units, so and we haven't been able to get to it. So I just went out and spent $4.50 on another package. That's fine. That's not going to break the bank. So that is it. And I don't have my big ironing board in here. I do know where that is, and I can get to it, but with as tight as things are in here, I think it would bother me more to have it up than it would be to continue using this small pressing thing here. What I do wish I had though was my wool mat, and I may go ahead and buy a new one. I like it. I get better results on that wool mat than I do on this cut and press. But this is what I have handy right now, so that's what I'll be using. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.